I know that you are coming from nationwide, so from Sabang for Merauke, right? So we're going to learn something new here about how to be a public speaking with a full of confidence. And before we going to start the topic, I'm going to share you a little bit about Wall Street English. So have you heard about Wall Street English before? Maybe I would like to greet one of you, mungkin Hamzah, Sutisna. Have you heard
Ya.
about Wall Street English?
Apa ya? Oh,
Pernah nggak dengar tentang Wall Street English, Hamzah?
ya.
Oke, di mana tuh dengarnya? Where do you hear about it?
Kampus.
Oh, I see, in your campus. Okay, that's great. So, kampusnya di mana nih, Hamzah?
Tangerang.
Oh, Tangerang, I see. Yes. Basically, we have a lot of centers across Indonesia. We have it in Tangerang, in Alam Sudra, as well as if you are talking about Surabaya, we have it in Pakuwon Mall Center. Okay, so we're going to share you a little bit about Wall Street English, but sebelumnya nih aku ada video ya. I'm going to share a little short video about a motivation why we should learning English very well.
She's an ordinary person, just like us. We go through the motions of our daily lives, jobs, and routines.
Bro, lihat nih bro, gue tuh 15 siswa di latihan bro.
She seeks a new path, chasing down dreams, to explore farther than she's ever been.
Okay, hello. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I'm 21 years old.
Okay, Evelyn, thank you. I think the best thing for you to do is study for another year or so, and then maybe apply next year.
Determination and courage drive her to take the necessary steps to achieve her dreams. You are in charge of your future. Only you can make your dreams come true.
Only you who can make your dream come true, yeah. So that's it, the short introduction about Wall Street English. So I believe that Duta Inspirasi members here are the great people, yeah, who have a lot of dream out there. Dan mungkin this is one of your purpose by attending this webinar as well. You want to be the great people as well, right? So you're on the right track untuk attend this webinar because we're going to learn something new and something beneficial for you. And if we are talking about Wall Street English itself, we are different from another brand, yeah, because we have a unique method that I can share it to you here.
Hai, mau tahu cara belajar di Wall Street English? Di Wall Street English, kami membangun confidence melalui community untuk membuka pintu opportunity. Hal ini diwujudkan dengan menggabungkan pembelajaran akademik didukung penerapan lifestyle. Dalam pembelajaran akademik, terdapat WSE Core yang merupakan produk utama kami, IELTS Masterclass, Professional Skills, serta program VIP dengan fasilitas premium dan eksklusif. Yang membuat Wall Street English sebuah community adalah fitur lifestyle kami, yaitu Chat Hour, Social Club, dan WSE Community. Apa yang membuat Wall Street English unik? Dengan jaminan uang kembali. Dapat diakses lewat aplikasi dan platform online kami. Terdapat di beberapa kota yang dilengkapi dengan Social Club Cafe, hasil progres belajar Anda yang diakui secara internasional, sesuai keinginan Anda secara online maupun offline di seluruh center kami. Pelatih bersertifikat dari US, UK, Kanada, Australia, dan New Zealand. Personal consultant serta personal tutor atau kompas untuk mendukung perkembangan belajar Anda. WSE Core dibangun dengan filosofi yang sama seperti saat Anda pertama kali belajar bahasa ibu, dimulai dari mendengar, berbicara, membaca, dan terakhir menulis. Di sesi onboarding, Anda akan dipandu oleh kompas pribadi Anda. Anda akan bertemu dengan kompas secara rutin untuk memastikan perkembangan dalam pembelajaran Anda. Anda dapat mengakses WSE Core melalui website atau aplikasi kami. Dengan fitur Artificial Intelligence dalam platform kami, Anda dapat memantau perkembangan belajar Anda melalui Personal Dashboard. Siklus belajar akademik WSE Core terdiri dari interactive lessons, digital books, dan encounter class. Sedangkan fitur lifestyle kami memiliki social club, complimentary class, chat hour, dan WSE community. Setiap unit pembelajaran dimulai dengan menonton TV seri yang dibangun khusus oleh Wall Street English dan disesuaikan dengan kemampuan setiap member. Anda juga akan melatih pronunciation skill yang dilengkapi dengan fitur speech recognition. Speaking skill juga dilatih lewat dialogue simulation yang berbasis TV seri. Dalam digital, Anda dapat mempelajari kosakata baru, tata bahasa, dan menulis dalam bahasa Inggris, yang kemudian dapat diaplikasikan pada soal latihan. Ketepatan jawaban Anda dapat dicek secara instan sebanyak 3 kali. Anda dapat fokus berlatih grammar bahasa Inggris dan juga writing skill. Progres belajar Anda dapat dilihat melalui fitur Levels. Kelas dapat dibook secara online, dan Anda dapat memilih kelas online atau in-center yang sesuai dengan jadwal Anda. Dalam Encounter Class, Anda akan mereview pembelajaran digital sebelumnya dalam bentuk percakapan dengan English Trainer. Dalam Complementary Class, Anda akan memperdalam pembelajaran tata bahasa dan kosakata bahasa Inggris bersama dengan member lainnya. Dalam Chat Hour, Anda akan bertemu dengan English Trainer dan member lainnya untuk mendiskusikan beberapa topik sehari-hari dengan santai. Dalam Social Club, Anda akan melakukan kelas percakapan dengan membahas topik yang menarik dan beragam sambil diselingi dengan permainan yang menarik dan seru yang dipandu oleh English Trainer kami. Kami juga memiliki 4 komunitas Wall Street English untuk melatih kemampuan berkomunikasi sekaligus memperluas koneksi Anda dalam waktu yang bersamaan. The Syndicate untuk para wirausahawan dan profesional dengan pembahasan yang mencangkup dunia bisnis dan profesional. Lead untuk pelajar dan mahasiswa yang akan memulai karir mereka atau melanjutkan pembelajaran di luar negeri. Recharge untuk pribadi yang memiliki ketertarikan akan peningkatan kesehatan fisik dan mental. Create untuk pribadi yang memiliki ketertarikan dengan dunia seni, berhasil menggapai suksesnya bersama Wall Street English Indonesia, online, dan in-center. Untuk yang ingin maju dan sukses dalam hidup, pilihannya cuma satu.
Well, the one and only choice, Wall Street English. So, no worries, guys. If you want to try or have a trial class with Wall Street English, you can register yourself through Wall Street English Surabaya, and you can redeem it whenever and wherever you are, right? And I think that's all from me. And every one of you will get one free placement test as well. So let's get back to the cheat sheet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leo, for the wonderful information.
My pleasure.
Okay, now it's the time that you've been waiting for. So now we have Derek. Hi, Derek.
Hey.
Hi, so how have you been today?
Little tired, but otherwise very good.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. So without further ado, you may begin the coaching.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you very much, Chichi. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? Good?
Yes, I'm good, Mr.
Awesome, sweet. I love it.
Sure.
Love it. So here we go. Let me make sure that I can share. Yes, I can. Okay. So I have prepared for us today a small slideshow where we are going to talk about successfully giving presentations or public speaking. All right. So bum, bum, bum. Here we go. Let me get this to where I can see it. All right. So what goes into giving presentations, right? What does this mean? In general, this is any time that you are going to be talking in public. And I don't mean talking in public as in you go to the mall and you speak to your friends. What I mean is being in front of a group of people, maybe 5, maybe 50, maybe 500, okay? Where you will be expected to present some kind of information to them. So how do we go about doing that? Well, first we're going to look at the preparation, then we're going to look at some body language, knowing your stuff, anticipating your audience, and things like pause words, okay? So preparation. What do we have to do to prepare, okay? If we look at preparation, the things that we have to prepare being our body and body language, right? Can anybody tell me the first thing you should do to prepare for public speaking with your body? What's the first thing you should do? Anybody? Okay. Aldino?
Rio is raising his hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably
yell
you
it out.
can begin.
I think the first thing that people do before presentation is like you have to look at your eye contact or the body language. I think.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. That is definitely a big part of it. But I'm also a fan of starting from the very beginning, right? So if you're going to speak in front of people, make sure you take a shower, okay? And find some clean clothes. If you get up in front of everybody and you haven't showered and you're wearing dirty clothes, is anyone going to take you seriously? Probably not, right? So definitely take care of yourself, take a shower, wear some clean clothes. Now, body language, as Rio just mentioned, is absolutely things like eye contact, movement. What do I do with my hands? Do I walk around or is this online? Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about both, but predominantly tonight we're going to talk about online because let's face it, in today's day and age, and unfortunately because of COVID, we're online a lot, right? So first thing to do, have some sort of fairly neutral background, right? We don't want too much stuff going on. If you have people playing games or kids running around, that kind of thing, it can be distracting, all right? But try to have a neutral background. But what do we do with our body? Because online, I can't look at you directly, can I? No. So first thing, take a look at your posture, all right? What did our parents tell us, especially our moms? Stand up straight, sit up straight, right? Don't slouch, don't lean, don't be too comfortable, and God forbid, please don't be on your bed, okay? So definitely sit up straight. It's one of those very subtle things that you can do that will give you more credence. It will give people more faith in what you're saying if you have good posture. All right. Move that out of the way. Movement. If we're online and we're sitting in a chair, we can't really move around too much. Okay. So what I've found, because I do this every day, is that I tend towards the middle of the screen, somewhere where I'm not too distracted. I might fidget a little bit. I'm in one of these nice chairs that swivels, okay? But I try not to make it too much, because if I sit and continue to spin, it's hard to pay attention to, right? If you are standing, try not to move around the entire stage, okay? Find one or two places that you can stand that are not going to detract from what you say. Or if you have a projector behind you, stand to one side of it instead of directly in the middle. That will help you not be blinded, and it will also help your audience be able to see what you are talking about on your slides.
Oh, Derek, I'm sorry. The slide isn't moved until now. It's still in the first slide.
Awesome.
Is it supposed to be like that?
No, because I'm hitting the button and I'm on movement. Hang on. Let's
All right.
stop sharing and let's try sharing this again. Okay. This one, yeah. Come on, share this. Okay. So what do you see? Do you see the PowerPoint screen?
The first one, successfully giving presentation.
Absolutely. Okay. Is it the full screen or is it just like the PowerPoint?
Not the full one.
Okay. So why is this not working? No. Come on. Stop. Tell you what, let me do this. All right, so if I do that, let's try to share this again. It's this screen. Okay, so this should be, it says you can see it. If I hit that, do we have table of contents?
Nope.
Why not?
Still the first one.
Not moving yet.
This is very strange because it is absolutely moving for me. What if I close?
Or do you need our help to share the screen?
Perhaps. Did you make me a co-host?
Yep.
Come on, computer. Sorry, this is a 2002 special computer. Come on, open up. I'm closing and reopening this PowerPoint. Hopefully that will work. Let's try this again. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so here we go. Here's the beginning. Slideshow, come on. We have table of contents now.
Nope.
Still nothing. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, probably I will tell to my friend to help.
Yeah, Leo, I'm gonna send this to you.
All right.
Sorry, guys. Technical malfunction.
Okay.
All right, Leo, that is on the way to you.
All right, Dustin has shared the screen, I guess.
Okay, because I cannot see anything. Case in point, guys, if you're ever giving a presentation and something is not working, don't freak out. It happens. Okay. Are we sharing that PowerPoint, or are we just going to go without it?
Chi, maybe Dustin has an issue right now.
Yeah, her laptop is lagging, so we need to wait for a moment.
Okay, sure.
That's all you had to say. I understand that completely.
Technical issues.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Fantastic. I can't do anything with that. So I tell you what, how about we go down to body language? All right, that would be the 5th slide.
To one, right?
Yes, please. Next.
All right.
I think it's frozen on this one now. Bum, 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 bum. I have a feeling that this presentation is not going to be very responsive. I think is what's happening. I tell you what, let me try sharing it again. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
If you can't, probably I can try to
Right,
share
so
for you.
can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Did it switch now?
Yeah, it switched.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to forego the slideshow, guys, just for efficacy and making this work a little bit better, okay? So where were we? We were talking about body language, right? Body language is when we are communicating without language, all right? We communicate through posture, movement, eye contact, hand motions, things like that, right? And I believe that we had gotten through posture, all right, where your mother always tells you to stand up or sit up straight, and got into movement. So movement refers to when you're sitting on Zoom, right? Instead of, back and forth or spinning in your chair, find a comfortable position, one that you can maintain for a while, all right? If you are in some position that is uncomfortable or causing you physical pain, it's going to be hard for you to concentrate and deliver your message while you're in pain, right? So be comfortable. Or as I was saying before this thing stopped working, or well, after, if you are on stage and behind you, you have a presentation, stand to one side of it, either on the left or the right, whichever you're more comfortable with, okay? That way your audience is going to be able to see what you're talking about, all right? With eye contact, you are in person, okay? When you are talking to somebody, think your boyfriend or your girlfriend, right? If you're talking to somebody important to you and they aren't looking at you in the eye, do you think they're listening? Probably not, right? You can always get yelled at. Your parents would probably yell at you too if you better look at me. Are you paying attention? Okay. If you are giving a presentation, it's important to kind of scan the room. Try not to stare at any one person, because if you do, you get creeper eye. Okay. It doesn't really work on Zoom because I'm staring at Chiara now. Okay. She knows I'm staring at her, but on Zoom, it doesn't really exactly. On Zoom, it doesn't really matter because we're not in the same room. But if you're in person, try not to stare directly at any one person. Move your eyes around the room. Make eye contact with many people, all right? And then when you do focus, focus somewhere in the middle behind everybody. That way it looks like you are looking at everybody directly, all right? So hand motions. Hand motions, of course, I'm sure you've met people that talk with their hands, and that's totally fine. But it's good to emphasize a point, not be doing some sort of calisthenic exercise while you're talking. Because at this point, it's tiring for me, and I'm sure it's very distracting for you guys, right? Because it has no emphasis. However, if you are trying to, exactly, if you are trying to, I'm so sorry, I looked down and somebody's doing the cha-cha-cha. I love it. If you are emphasizing a point, using your hands can help. Or if you're trying to get approval or maybe say something is bad, some sort of emphasis or motion with your hands will help. But too much is definitely not a good thing, all right? So these are some of the body language things that you have to think about when you give a presentation. But what about knowing your stuff? Okay, this is quite possibly the simplest thing to prepare for, right? If you are asked to give a presentation on a particular topic, make sure that you absolutely, for sure, number one, you learn it, okay? It's very, very helpful if you know what you're talking about. You don't necessarily have to know all of the tiny, minute details about a subject. But if you're giving information about the topic, you definitely need to know more than the people you are talking to about it, right? The second thing that goes into knowing your subject is the pronunciation. This sometimes can be a pain. If you are studying something, or if you are going to be giving a speech or a presentation about a topic that involves lots of difficult vocabulary, or maybe even foreign words from a different language, take the time to learn how to properly pronounce them. okay? Nothing is more embarrassing when you try to give a class or a speech on something and you have no idea how to say it, right? It not only makes you look slightly foolish, but it definitely erodes your audience's confidence in you as an expert, right? And the third and possibly most important thing about knowing your stuff is to be able to answer questions, all right? As you study something, you will naturally have questions about it, right? This is how we learn. We ask questions. So it's good for you to kind of remember those questions, especially the very common questions. Because when you give a presentation, a lot of times the people that are listening are going to have the same questions you did at the beginning. And they are looking to you now as the guide to help them answer those questions and get more information. It's also very important to think of other questions as you are studying it and think about maybe the questions somebody might ask. That will help you avoid long delays in answering a question. And it also helps you learn the subject more thoroughly, okay? If you get into some of the larger Fortune 500 companies like Amazon or Google, you would be expected, maybe monthly, perhaps weekly, to teach people something, because a lot of the very large companies in the world realize that the true way to show that you have learned something is to be able to teach it, right? So this is what I mean when I say know your stuff. Definitely learn it. Learn how to pronounce things that are involved in it and be able to anticipate and answer questions about the material, right? So that brings us to anticipating your listeners, all right? Does anyone have any idea what I might possibly mean when I say anticipate your listeners or prepare for your audience is another way to say this. Does anybody have any idea what I might mean? No? Okay. Absolutely, yes. Exactly, Chiara. Know your audience or the people that you want to talk to, okay? Further than that, find out about them. Find out if they are professionals that you are giving some sort of business talk to, or maybe if you're in sales, who are you selling your product to? Who are you going to be talking to? If you are in school, are the other members of your class going to be your audience? All of these things matter because you will speak to different groups of people in different ways, especially if you're using English. So with that in mind, I would like to talk to you just a little bit about the different types of English. In school, many of you have probably heard that there's informal English and there's formal English, okay? That is not incorrect, but there's a little bit more nuance to it, okay? So there's really 5 different kinds of English. What are the 5 different kinds of English, Derek? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Number 1, you have informal English, all right? Informal English is the use of slang. Well, slang is a slang term. It stands for situational language, okay? This is what we use with people that we have a close relationship with. Maybe your friends or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your brother, sister, or your mom or dad, okay? These are very close relationships. And informal English involves like text speak, okay? When people text, we have abbreviations like IKR, I know, right? Or LOL, laugh out loud, things like that. Or if you see your friends, you're probably not going to look at your best friend and say, "How fare thee today? Is the weather to your liking?" No, that's weird, right? You're probably going to look at your best friend and just be like, "Hey, what up? How you doing?" All right. This is informal English. Informal English, like I said, this is for people that you have a close relationship with. Now, after informal English, we have proper English. Proper English can be used in any situation, whether it be close friends or people you have not met or the work environment. It does not matter. Proper English is always acceptable because proper English only means that you are not using slang, but you are using correct grammar and sentence structures. That's all that proper English is. So instead of saying, "What's up, dude?" it would be, "How are you today?" Okay. And then we get into the one that everybody always tells me is formal English. Formal English is what most of your teachers have probably told you you have to use when you are talking to teachers or your parents or your boss, or if you're in court or police officers or important situations, right? While I do not disagree with that, okay, formal English really just means that you are being polite. You are using words like sir and ma'am, please, thank you, excuse me. And if someone has a title, you will use their title. So for instance, judges, we would call judges your honor. Or if somebody is a doctor, we might call them Dr. Johnson as opposed to Bob. All right. So that is what makes something formal, is that it is proper English and you are being polite. Okay. Now, beyond formal English is where we start getting into academic English. Academic is when we are talking about school. Okay. And when we're in school, we all want to sound smart, right? So in academic English, this is the time to use all of these vocabulary words that you've been looking up and practicing, okay? This is when you go for broke. So with academic English, you are going to use higher level vocabulary and higher level grammatical structures. In real life, when you are talking to people that you know or that you work with, that you see every day, proper English is fine, okay? You don't have to use the high level vocabulary. The high level vocabulary, like I said, this is academic. This is for writing papers. This is for giving presentations in school, okay? And then we get the academic formal. Academic formal is high level grammar, high level vocabulary, proper English, and the use of polite terms, please, thank you, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and titles, okay? This is what you would use if you are a professional and you are addressing a group of your peers, other professionals. For instance, doctors, okay? If you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor that your stomach hurts, okay? Doctor, my stomach hurts. This is proper English, okay? But doctors are going to use medical terms, which are high level vocabulary. Instead of saying that your stomach hurts, they might say that you have appendicitis or gastritis, okay? They're going to use some big word that means your stomach hurts, okay? So when they get into a conference with other doctors, they're going to be using these terms. If you join it, you're probably not going to understand them. And that's totally fine. It happens in everybody's field and profession. So these are the different types of English. How does this help you anticipate your audience? Look at your audience. If you are addressing all of your friends at a birthday party, or perhaps someone has gotten engaged and you were giving a toast. If they're all your close friends, informal English or proper English, your choice. All right. It does not matter because you have the close relationship. So informal is okay, and proper English is always okay. All right. If you are at court, like let's say that you got a speeding ticket and you have to go before the judge, definitely we are not using informal language, right? We are going to use proper English and formal English. If you want to go academic, that's totally fine, but you may come across as a little boring or maybe a little stiff to people that are listening to you. It also might be difficult for them to understand you. If you know that you are talking to a group of people that maybe don't speak English very well, don't use high-level vocabulary. Don't use high-level grammar because they won't understand you. For instance, I could say, this is boring, I don't like it. Or I could go the academic route and say, my flux now synhilipilification of the subject leads me to believe that it is valueless. Okay. That second one is a bit of a mouthful, and I doubt many of you know that word, right? So gauge your audience, kind of decide what you think will get your message across more clearly, because it is always 100% more important to be understood than to look cool for using higher vocabulary or grammar structures. All right. So the final thing that we're going to talk about are pause words. What are pause words? Does anybody know? No? Okay, pause words are words that we use to maybe buy ourselves a little bit of time. And everybody, I love you, not yet. And everybody uses them, okay? I just did it. I keep saying okay, right? This is technically for me a pause word. The very common pause words are sounds like that. I'm thinking of a word, yeah, those are pause words, okay? Most of the time, you're not going to notice yourself using them. And that can be very embarrassing when you go hear a recording of your speech or a recording of your presentation later. You're going to be like, oh my God, I don't know that guy. Okay. But if you are aware of them and try not to say them, this is why some people will suggest that you practice in the mirror giving your presentation, or practice with a recorder to where you give your speech or you give your presentation and then listen to it later so that you can hear what you've said to make sure that it is clear. Okay. Another very, very common problem, and this happens to everybody, and I don't think it is just English. I think it's every language. When we're talking, especially when we're public speaking, we're a little nervous, right? Everybody has a little bit of nerves, and sometimes when you get nervous, you'll forget something. If you forget a word, what do we do? All right. Most people will stop and they'll try to buy time, like, oh, I just forgot the word. I can't remember the word. And you get flustered, right? Everybody does it. But one of the best ways to get through that is, instead of stopping, because it's like a train, right? Trains are very heavy and they move, but if you stop them, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of power to get it moving again, right? So when you're talking, if you forget a word, talk around the word, talk about what the word means or what it does. That way your audience can understand your point, but you don't necessarily have to have the word. And above all, remember, okay, guys, above all, to err is human, okay? To forgive divine. This simply means we are all human. No one is perfect. We are all going to make mistakes, and that's okay, right? Forgive yourself the same way God does, okay? It's all right. So this is what I have for you guys tonight. Chichi, let me turn that back over to you. I know I saw 1 or 2 questions that I did not get to in chat. All right. So is there a
All right. So the material already delivered by Derek. So the next part is supposed to be Q&A section. So if any of you guys have any question, you may raise your hand and wait your name to be called. So whoever you want to ask something, well, we have some people.
Chara, we've got 2 questions that were in chat. Can I address those real quick, and then I'll let you go through and pick who's going to do that. Okay.
All right, probably I'll check later. So for this one, maybe I will give the change. The first question goes to Uli from Kalimantan Tengah. So for Uli, you may start to ask something.
Okay. Hello, Mr.
Hello.
My name is Uli from Kalimantan Tengah.
It's nice to meet you, Uli.
As we know that learning English is important, but sometimes because of the
I believe you're muted.
Difficulty of pronunciation, writing, and lack of clarity in listening. It makes people easy to give up learning English. In your opinion, how to overcome this feeling of laziness? Thank you.
Goodness, that is an excellent question. Okay. And in my experience, what I have found is that if you find a subject that you enjoy, all right, if you are studying English and you are trying to learn, if you will watch like YouTube videos or read magazine articles or books about a subject that you enjoy, it won't seem nearly as difficult because you're willing to put in the time. Like me, I love food, okay? So when I started trying to learn Bahasa Indonesia, that is the first thing that I learned, is I learned all kinds of different foods. And then I started trying to figure out animals. And then my teacher, he started teaching me about government things because we started talking about different provinces, okay? It was never the direct lesson of this goes here, because you're absolutely right. That is boring and it's very discouraging. Okay. So my suggestion is definitely find things that you are interested in that you can practice with. That will help you maintain interest longer. So thank you very much for your question. Who's next?
All right, so I already read some question from the chat. The first one goes from Fanny from Jawa Tengah. She asking about, in the presentation, do we need ice breaking? Thank you.
When it comes to ice breaking, this is really going to depend on your audience. Okay. Icebreakers are never bad. And for anybody that's not sure, an icebreaker is just kind of the very beginning where you get to know everybody just a little bit, or tell them about yourself slightly, something to just get the presentation started. A lot of times that is going to depend on the format. It's going to depend on the amount of time that you have. And in some cases, it may depend on technology and what happens with it, right? The best advice I can give you for that is to plan what you want to say, but be able to roll with the punches, or be able to adapt when things occur and happen. So that's going to depend on your personality, right? If you are in school addressing your classmates, they already know who you are. So you're probably not going to need an icebreaker there. If you are addressing people that you work very closely with, that's another place where you already know everyone, right? So an icebreaker is not necessarily important. But if you are presenting to a bunch of people that you've never ever met before in a very formal setting, absolutely go with an icebreaker. Can't go wrong. So, thank you. What's next?
All right, for the next question goes to Fauzia from Bangka Belitung. As you know, she is the person who shaking her hand when you're presentation back then.
Answer.
If you remember, yeah. So for Fauzia, the stage is yours.
Hello, Mr. Derek.
Hello.
Hello. On this occasion, I want to introduce myself. My name is Fauzia Sabira, and you can call me Fau. I am from Bangka Belitung. And then I want to ask you about this question for you. Discussing public speaking, especially presentation tips, how to overcome nervousness when speaking in public. Thank you, Mr.
You're absolutely welcome, Fal. And this is a good question, okay? The simple answer is some people are just built for it. Some people are not, all right? This is when we start talking about our extroverts versus our introverts, okay? It seems like there are those people that thrive on the attention they get when they speak in public, right? They love it. Think your movie stars, your pop stars, all of these people that love being the center of attention. But then there are the rest of us that maybe not so much, okay? And if you're one of those types of people that is a little more introverted, it is difficult. It is very difficult, no matter how many times you have spoken publicly or how many presentations you've given, you will always feel that nervous feeling in the pit of your stomach. You'll always be a little worried, like, what if I mess up? What if nobody likes it? What if nothing goes right? These things happen. And this is why I was saying at the very end, just remember to err is human, right? Forgive yourself and just do it. Like Nike says, just do it, right? That's the only way that you're going to get through it. You may not remember it, okay? You may be so nervous that you kind of forget until the end, and then, you know, you ask your friends, how did I do? And they're like, oh, you're great, you know, but this happens. And practice will make it easier. It really, really will. If you come out and you do a little bit of public speaking and you find that, you know, no matter how many times you do it or how much you do it, that you are just a nervous wreck, but you love to make the presentation, there are people that do that for a living. You know, they're the coaches. They're the ones that are speech writers. They might have a lot to say, but they can't deliver the message as well as our more extroverted friends. So try to find some of those. But the only way that I know to tell you to improve is to just do it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Derek, your explanation for me. Nice to meet you.
It is nice to meet you too, and you're very welcome.
All right, so we still have time. So for the next question, let me choose. Goes to Claudio from Nusa Tenggara Timur. Go ahead.
Hi, Derek. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you as well, Claudio.
Okay, before overall, let me to introduce my name. My name is Claudio Ramnendra Gajara. You can call me Ramdhani. I'm a student college of communication in one of the most beautiful province in Indonesia, which is Nusa Tenggara. My biggest question is, three things come to my mind when I'm thinking about being confident is how you think, how you feel, and how you action. Do you believe that we need to collaborate these three things to making us feel confident when we talk with English? Thank you.
Let me make sure I completely understand this question. What do I think about the need to have a unity of thought, action, and speech?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when I want to start to speaking in English, I always try to collaborate these three things: how I think, this is the first one, and the second is how I feel, and after that, when I action, which is when I speaking with English. Do you believe that I need to collaborate these three things before I speak with English to making myself feel confident?
Okay, all right, I totally got it now. How I think, how I feel, and how I'm going to act. Okay, that's an excellent question. And I would love to tell you that all of the time we are going to think the same as we feel as we will speak. But we're all adults in this room, right? We're close to. At some point, you will realize that sometimes maybe your personal feelings about something we're going to kind of keep down and share more, what's the word I'm going to use? More friendly thoughts about a subject. All right. If you can speak what you feel and what you believe in the same action, I think that you should go for it. All right. But if you find yourself in a situation where maybe your opinion would do more harm than good, you might put your personal feelings aside and just kind of, speak some sort of platitude that will, kind of diffuse a situation. All right. For instance, the three things that we never ever talk about, right, are money, politics, and religion. Okay. So if you find yourself in a conversation that has gone to one of these subjects and maybe the participants think one way and you think a different way. In the movies, in the books, the hero always stands up for what they believe and says, oh no, you're wrong, blah, 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 right? But in real life, maybe it's better to just not say anything and be like, oh, okay, I disagree, or maybe I agree, just to let it go. But those are those weird situations. If you find yourself publicly speaking, you've had time to assess your audience and think about who it is that you're talking to and what you want to say. And in that light, I think you would have enough time to really be able to put those things together, and that will help you deliver a very powerful message that you've thought about and feel strongly about.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. I was born and growing up in East Nusa Tenggara, and here we have a low quality of education. So that's why sometimes the little child know what they think, but they don't know how to speak with English. It's really, really hard. So that's why I believe that education is one of the most important thing you can use to change your life in the future. And I believe that when you know how to think and how to speak with English, it can help you to connect with all the people around the world. So I believe that English is one of the most important thing in our life. So thank you for sharing with us tonight. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. And I definitely agree with you about the education. And to your point, I want to add this. Even if, and this goes for everybody in every situation, even if you are not entirely sure how to say something, if you are worried about the words, right? Don't worry about the words. Talk around them, okay? Maybe you don't know the word for a specific feeling, but if you can describe that feeling, your listener will understand, all right? So don't be afraid to try at the very least, because if you don't try at all, nothing will ever change, right?
Yes, it's right. If you never try, you never know.
Exactly. So good question. Thank you, Claudia.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. For the next question, probably this is the last question for today. I will choose from 10 people. Probably I will choose Chris from Maluku. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Kak. Thank you. Sorry. How are you, Mr. Derek?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I'm good. So because me and my friend is already good. So I want to say about a long time ago, I want to read a news based on Harvard University, based on research by Harvard University. They say about public speaking is the biggest fear, number one right now. So I want to ask three questions. First, I know that when we public speaking, when we presentation in a stage for the audience, it's not easy. It's not so hard. But how can we attract the attention of the audience to focus on me and knowing what I want to say, and they do what I say. And two, I want to ask how can we or me not be nervous on the stage in a larger stage or small stage. And second, I want to say how can on other people can be good speaker like Steve Jobs, like Joe Biden, like Vladimir Putin, or anything else. Thank you.
Okay. I'm making myself a note because you had a fairly in-depth question. And let me just clarify this. You are looking for how to command more attention, like how to get the attention of everybody and keep it.
Yes, Mr. Yes.
How to not be nervous, and how to improve as a public speaker.
Mr. Yes.
Okay. So the easy answer for how to command attention is if you are the presenter at a speech or a presentation or a debate of some kind, you don't have to worry about it. If you're on stage, they're going to pay attention to you. Okay. That's what they're there to do, right? And this kind of goes hand in hand with the nervousness. If you are extremely nervous and you're fidgeting and you're moving around the stage and you are not trying to talk to people, then they will lose interest and they will start to, check their phones or maybe look at their watches. But we're all hardwired as humans to have some sort of fear response, right? This is what kept us alive when we were cavemen and women. And being nervous is just that response in your body, like telling you that, oh, something's wrong. I'm not sure, right? And you're absolutely right. Public speaking is one of the biggest fears for professionals because nobody likes to look foolish or silly, right? Nobody likes it, no matter how old you are. But if you just simply remember, and I know this is just saying it, if you remember that we are all human and we're going to make mistakes, and give yourself some room to be human and make those mistakes, you'll find that it's not as bad as you think. Okay. I speak publicly as a teacher to classes of between 400 and 400 people every day. And I still get nervous, just a little bit, right? But I've had enough practice because I do it every day that I know how to hide that. So in this case, practice absolutely will make you better. Okay. So that would be my advice there, is to practice and definitely give yourself some room to be human. So, Jar?
Okay, Mr. Thank you. But I want to say about the first answer is I want to say about is so generally I want to ask advice from you, Mr. That in any situation when I front on the stage CEO or global leader that have a capacity up for, before me gitu. Thank you. So.
Oh no, you're fine. So if you're looking for more specific tips, this, right? If you are going to be dealing with children, respond to loud, very, very energetic, right? So and they have people moving everywhere. Those people have looked at their audience and they realize what children are interested in. Okay. If you are presenting to like CEOs or other business professionals, I think that most likely for that matter, and being able to explain it quickly and precisely will keep their attention so that they can ask those focused questions, which if you can answer them, that will help keep their attention. For other groups, okay, for groups like this, maybe find finding humor because it makes people smile.
Thank you, Mr. Derek. I hope you are already good every day, every month.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Derek. This is the last question. So for the next, we're going to give a certificate to World Street English Surabaya as an appreciation because they have already given us wonderful material for today. So for Dustin or something else, you may take the picture.
Okay, thank you, Ciara. Okay, nice to meet you in the spiritual coaching, Mr. Derek. Yep, so guys, I will start the documentation. Put on your base style and smile. Then here are 4 slides. I count from 1, 2, and 3. Nice. Second slide. Wait. Wait. Okay, second slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Yep. Last slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, thank you, Ciara.
All right, thank you, Dustin, for taking our picture. So, all right, thank you everyone for coming. Unfortunately, the time is already over. So thank you for coming. We'll see you in the next coaching. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Leo. And thank you everyone for coming up today. Bye-bye.
Likewise. See you very soon, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
You're
Thank
very welcome.
you, Mr. Thank you, Mr.